My name is Sheryl, and I go by Pat Meyer, and I was an LNC in my reserve part of my career, and I was an AZ, Aviation Maintenance Administration man, in my active duty part. So let's move forward a few years. It's 8 years later. Everything has changed. I'm now a single parent, but I can get into the reserve program as an advanced pay grade because of my skills and experience in the civilian world as a legal secretary. So I was the second person to enlist as an LM in the legalman program in the entire United States. It was in 1978 that one of the attorneys I was working for as a civilian, he had just joined the law firm that I was working for. He was a JAG Corps officer, and he says, "Hey Meyer, I understand that you used to be in the Navy." I said, "Yeah, I did a little bit of time there." He says, "Well, they've just opened up this new program called Legalman to the reserves, and they're actively looking for people to enlist. And I think you'd be a good fit." So I went home and I talked to the gentleman I was living with at the time, and we both agreed that it'd be a good opportunity for me. So I filled out all the paperwork, and in January, the end of January 1979, I was back in the reserves. The whole uniform had changed, so none of my others were any good, and had to get outfitted all over again and get tailored and all that stuff. But like I said, I was discharged as an E3, came back in advanced pay grade program as an E5. I was with a unit at Eisenhower Avenue in Virginia, in Arlington, I think it is. And the first 2 weeks of active duty for training, the first 3 years I was in, I went to Newport, Rhode Island for my training to become a court reporter and legal secretary for the JAG Corps. So, and in July, no less, in Newport, Rhode Island. How lucky can you get? A lot of legal work, but I did have some interesting assignments. The first really fun one that I had was being with 30 officers from every branch of the service, including the Coast Guard. We were writing legislation. They had interviewed everybody that had a legal MOS of any kind in the area, and I was deemed the only one that had enough experience to work with these guys. So for 18 months, we drilled 4 hours, 4 Tuesday nights a month at the Navy Yard in an old office building turned warehouse. We had a few offices there, and we wrote the Reserve Officer Personnel Management Act, the running mate to the Defense Officer Personnel Management. The Reserve Officer Personnel Management Act, just the whole procedure for officers from the time they came in and through the ranks and that sort of thing. You know, because I was the only enlisted person working with all these officers, we didn't pay attention to bureaucracy. We were on a first name basis all the way through. And often the commanding officer and I'd go out and have a drink afterwards and talk about things. And he eventually made Admiral and told everybody it was because of me. After he became an Admiral, he came to me and he said, "You know, we have these JAG conferences every year and we have quarterly dinners, but none of the enlisted people ever come. Why?" I said, "Because they're all geared towards officers." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "You don't have any training for us. Why do we want to go and listen to how you have to progress to get promoted?" He goes, "Oh, can you come up with any way to do it?" I said, "Yeah, I can put a program together." He says, "Okay, we've got a conference coming up in March in Chicago. Do it." And so they funded it for all the enlisted people to go as well. We had a great turnout. They loved the training. And again, my mouth sometimes got me in trouble. Admiral had a tendency, even though I was chief by this time, he had a tendency to come up and say, "Hey Pat, how's everything going?" And it's going quite well. They're very pleased. They like the training. And he'd periodically come to me during that weekend and, "Hey Pat." So we got back. We're going to a quarterly dinner, just our JAG Corps in the DC area. And of course, as usual, I'm the only enlisted person there. And when he comes in, I says, "Admiral, could I have a word in private?" He goes, "Well, sure. What's up?" And I said, "I have a bone to pick with you." I said, "When we are in a situation such as we were in Chicago, you do not address me as Pat. I am Chief Meyer." And I said, "You are always Admiral. I don't care where I see you." And it was like a light bulb going off over his head. So, of course, he goes in and tells the rest of the JAG Corps officers what I had said. And they all knew who had said it. There was no hiding it. And he says, "But I tell you this to tell you that you have to give respect to get respect." That was Admiral Gerald Gilbert.